Yeah, welcome in. It's Hump Day, a Wednesday edition of the Sports Huddle on SEMO ESPN Radio. From the Yuengling Sports Huddle Studios, Yuengling, the iconic American lager, America's oldest brewery, Yuengling. Eric Shawn, Rusty Hendricks, voice of the Cape Catfish. You can join us. Here is our EBOMD Huddle hotline number. It is 573-334-1220. 573-334-1220. The Huddle hotline powered by EBOMD. And if you have not downloaded our free app, it is terrific. It is free of charge. Just go to your app store. If you have a smartphone, search for SEMO ESPN. It has the Listen Live link, links to our contests and promotions, the latest breaking news, the latest radar weather forecast, and a link to our podcast page. It's free. It's the SEMO ESPN app. Let's head to the EBOMD Huddle Hotline, where the voice of the Catfish, Rusty Hendricks, joins us on location. Nice win for the Fish last night. Rusty got dicey there in the ninth inning. But a nice 6-5 home win over DuBois County.
Yeah, it was. It was a nice win for them. It wasn't necessarily the prettiest of games, Eric. I think they had 3 errors. They got kicked off base a couple of times. But look, a win's a win. And that was good to see for them last night. They continue their dominance against DuBois County in their history. They're now 9-1 in all time in 10 matchups against them. But yeah, it was good to see the offense that leads the league, and runs scored in all kinds of different categories, and they just continue to step up big when they need them.
Yeah, I don't even know why the Bombers show up for these games. They got no shot. Didn't have any scoring after the 7th inning. You and I talked yesterday over under Hayden Nazarenas with 1 RBI. And it was the over. He drove in 2, including the game winner with a game tied 5-5 in the 7th sac fly. Nazarenas drives in a couple, as we thought he might go over the over-under 1 RBI that we set yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a great year, Eric. Hayden Nazarenas, of course, he's the Cooter, Missouri native. A guy that went on to Crowder College, hit 14 bombs and led them in RBIs this year as well. So he just has a knack for it. I actually talked to him after the game about it. And he said, I don't know. I just keep it simple in my approach. But he said, yeah, it just seems like it's something that I, do well in. And a guy that's going to be going to Western Kentucky. But, I've actually heard, Trevor Ezell, of course, the head coach for SEMO, he is in love with his swing. He loves Hayden Nazarena's swing. So he's a guy that's been sought after. He's kind of like a little bit like a Nolan Gorman. Boy, like when he gets a hold of the ball, it goes a long way. But he's got a pretty swing from the left side. And, again, when there's guys on base, there's no one else you want up there than this guy. And currently he's right there at the top of the entire league in runs batted in. So 40 now in the season.
Yeah, I wish we could have kept him at SEMO. He's going to Western Kentucky, so that's a bit of a bummer. Cool to hear that Trevor Ezell likes his swing. Trevor Ezell is a phenomenal hitting coach, a phenomenal baseball mind, and SEMO's lucky to have him.
Oh, absolutely. That's one thing about SEMO is that the coaching staff is second to none. They are so good, and obviously the experience that he has as a player, right? Matthew Kinney as well as a pitching coach, and obviously, all the history that head coach Andy Sawyers has as well. So again, coaching staff is great. They've been there, throughout the summer as well, poking their head in and recruiting some guys and just seeing, some of the talent that's around. So. That's cool to see, but look, they're doing some good things for SEMO baseball.
All right, Catfish are on the road tonight. They will play a doubleheader at T-Rex, and it was not a scheduled doubleheader. The first game is a rainout makeup game, so they'll play 2 on the road. When are the Catfish back home next?
So they're back at home on Thursday and Friday. So you can come back and watch them, at the end of the work week. But the Rex, it's a good kind of a testing point for them because the Rex are one of the best teams in the league. I think last check they had won like 9 in a row or something like that, Eric. So they are super hot. So it's going to be, fun to see how they kind of measure up a little bit because that's a team that potentially, we'll see how things go. But if both teams win out, that could potentially be a Prospect League championship series, these two teams. So, again, it'll be interesting to see how it goes the next couple of days. They actually face them again on Saturday in Terre Haute, Indiana. So, they have a good team. I mean, they have guys that can really hit, and they have a couple of guys at the top of the rotation that could really spin it as well.
So Rex Baseball, the opponent tonight. Now, one thing I will say, as I refer to them as T-Rex, if you are familiar at all, and, of course, Don Sean and I just went and saw the new Jurassic World movie in the last few days. A T-Rex, Rusty, little tiny arms. So I think if you pitch them away, I'm not sure they can reach. I'm not sure they can reach the outside corner with those little phalanges that they've got.
Yeah, that's a good point, Eric. I mean, you got to use the advantages that you have to and exploit the weaknesses of your opponent. So that's a good idea for sure.
All right, so Catfish are on the road tonight after a big home win over Dubois County last night. What time did you get out of there, and did you catch the end of the All-Star game?
I did. We got out of there. I guess it was around 10 o'clock or so. So we were able to get out of there. When I got home, I was listening to the game on the radio, and it was just ending as far as during the regular 9 innings, and then I got home just in time to see the swing off, Eric. So I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But that was pretty cool, and I'm glad I got to see that live in person.
So the tie, and Bud Selig was very embarrassed when the All-Star game ended in a tie. In fact, they announced it at the stadium when it looked like it may end in a tie, and they said, hey, if this game ends in a tie, then there will not be extra innings. The game will go down as a tie. So they were not going to do that. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, it was a couple of years ago they actually implemented the swing off. They did just mention it briefly on the pregame show leading into the telecast of the All-Star game last night on Fox. So they did mention it. I don't know that a lot of people caught that. I think it caught some people by surprise that there is such a thing as a swing off. And I think there are probably some people who are, quote, unquote, I don't know, some of these people like to refer to themselves as purists for baseball. I'm not really sure I know what that means. That means they are allergic to change in the game. I don't know what it means. I understand knowing and loving the history of the game. That's great. Okay, this is an exhibition. It's not home field advantage on the line anymore. And so they go into the swing off, and I'm sure there were plenty of people saying, what are we doing? What's going on? And on the heels of a successful home run derby, even though the stodgy old media members, ripped the home run derby, there weren't a lot of recognizable names in the home run derby. Some of the great stars like Ohtani and Judge were there. They weren't involved in the home run derby. Lo and behold, at the peak of the home run derby, over 6 million people tuned in, 5% increase in television ratings. People wanted to watch the home run derby. It was the highest watched TV show anywhere on television on Monday night. And so, with that in mind, they went to a swing off. And you had each of the managers apparently had already well, I take that back. The kid from the Marlins said he just found out prior to the swing off, but apparently Kyle Schwarber had been told ahead of time that he was one of the three. I guess some of the stars, like, the first thing you say is, why are Ohtani and Judge not going to be in this swing-off. Well, those guys, you saw Tarek Skubal during the swing-off at the end. He was already showered and in street clothes and came out to watch the swing-off. So each team had 3 guys. They get 3 swings. And after each team has 3 batters, except for the National League, if they, the home team, if they've got the lead, then the third hitter doesn't have to get involved in the swing-off. And the third hitter just happened to be the polar bear, Pete Alonso. And so the National League was behind 4-2 going into the – no, I take it back. They were down 3-1. That's what it was. They were down 3-1 going into the second batter for the National League, and that happened to be Kyle Schwarber. And for those of you who may have went to bed early because the game did go all 9 innings, and it was tied 6-6 after the National League blew a 6-0 seventh-inning lead. That's the way it usually goes for the National League in All-Star games. So it was Kyle Schwarber coming up. The National League down by 2 home runs. He gets 3 swings. And here is how it transpired with Schwarber. Now, keep this in mind, Rusty. You saw all of the players were super into the swing-off. They were all out in front of the dugout. They were hanging on every pitch, both sides. The players, the managers, everybody was into this thing. So anybody that comes out today and say, this is a joke, the swing-off and the whole – hey, the players loved it. They said afterwards that they loved it. You got home in time to see it. You saw what I saw, right? All of the players were super engaged in this thing.
Yeah, and they were having a blast. Because look, it's something new. It's something different. It was exciting, right? I mean, yeah, they could have thrown out Eric, like they do in the regular season. They could have thrown out a runner at second, and maybe they would have taken a few more innings to get the victory. But
National
this was an
League
easy way to solve it, and with pitching running out, I think in this exhibition game for an All-Star game, this is a good rule. I like it for this type of setting, and it made things exciting, and not only just for the players, but for the fans alike.
The National League was out of pitching when Dave Roberts came out and took Suarez out and brought in Edwin Diaz with a 1-run lead because Suarez gave up a couple of doubles. Tying run was at second base when he brought in Edwin Diaz. That was his last pitcher. They had no more pitching, so there was no way to go and play an extra inning.
Right, and so again, that's when you end up in that tie situation again, and that's just can't really happen. That's why I agree with the kind of the sentiment of Bud Selig, because that is kind of embarrassing. I mean, how would you want to end the game in a tie? I mean that's not any fun for anybody. So yeah, at least this is a way to switch it up, make things different. Again, exhibition, where the game doesn't matter. I have no problem with that. It's an entertainment. It's for entertainment purposes, Eric, and I think it lived up to that.
All right. So Schwarber is up there. National League down by 2 home runs in the swing-off. And here are the 3 swings from Kyle Schwarber last night. It was electric.
Through you. Schwarber in the air to center field, headed towards the wall, and down center. That's huge for the National League. They're within 1. So there you go. He said if he could get it on his first swing, and he did. Schwarber's in the All-Star game. Tied at 3. That's MVP material if he gets the third one right here. This guy, if he stopped playing, he'll be a softball superstar. Pretty darn good baseball superstar. AL rallied in the game. NL has rallied in the swing. With the hat trick. Look out, Chop House. National League takes the lead 4-3. Unbelievable.
So Schwarber keeps it inside the foul pole down the right field line into the chop shop. He went to a knee on the swing, Rusty, somehow kept it fair. And then the next batter, Aranda, for the American League, did not homer in the 3 swings, so the polar bear was in the on-deck circle. He didn't have to get out there for the swing off. They mob Schwarber. That was premium drama at the end of this festivity.
Yeah, it was. It was quite interesting. And for him to do that, think about how difficult that is, Eric. You have 3 swings, and you hit 3 home runs. And look, I get it. Some people say, "Oh, it's not that hard." He's a guy. Yes, that's incredibly hard to do. And he went up there cool as a cucumber, right? Just seemed like with all the pressure, all the eyes on him, no big deal. And man, that was pretty fun to watch. I was kind of secretly hoping that Aranda was able to get 1 to tie it, and that way we can have kind of a walk-off there with Alonso, because I thought, oh, that was so fitting. With him winning the home run derby a couple of times and the success that he had there. So I was kind of hoping for that. But nonetheless, it was still pretty awesome. And for Schwarber to do that was pretty fun, no doubt.
And, Alonso had hit a 3-run homer earlier in the game opposite field. So Schwarber's first homer hit the top of the center, or it looked like it hit the top of the center field wall. But they measured it at 428, so it must have hit something behind the center field wall. The second one, where you heard them refer to it as a Schwarbomb, 461 upper tank, and the one he curled around the foul pole into the chop house went 382, and that ended up winning it. So if you look at the final box, Rusty, Kyle Schwarber in the game, 0 for 2 with a walk, yet he's the MVP. I don't know how you score that with the box score. They've never had to do it before with in hockey you got the shootout. Now it's the swing off, and who knows if we'll ever have another one of these. It was fun. The players loved it. Here is the MVP, Kyle Schwarber, post-game.
Interesting. A little nervous. I think the first swing was kind of the big one. I was just trying to hit a line drive versus try to hit the home run. And usually that tends to work out, especially in games. But, I was just saying there's a lot of guys who are way more deserving of this award. But I'm just happy that it's going to be, we get a win with the National League and that it's going to be coming home with us to Philly. It's an honor. I think just being able to be here at the All-Star Game and representing the organization and, our city and the team, my teammates, it never goes, not noted, and it's a great honor, and hopefully, it's going to be, something that you're going to hold for. It's going to be something that you can hold on to for forever. But hopefully, it'll be a cool moment there for the Phillies for a little while.
All right, and one thing, Schwarber in the AL East with the Phillies. You're in Atlanta. He gets booed in the introductions and gets cheered when he wins the game in the home run derby swing off. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Like you said, look, Braves fans aren't too fond of the Phillies for sure. But, that was a cool moment. And for him to do that and look very humble there at the end. And, again, just it was different, something new, kind of like you said, a shootout for hockey or penalty kicks, for soccer, something along those lines. So, again, I don't know that I would like that for a regular season game, but for sure, for an exhibition, it made it pretty cool. And it was a good All-Star game, Eric. Back and forth, and finally the National League breaking the streak here. They get the victory. So, of course, you picked the National League. I picked the American League. That's all right. But so you're 2 for 2 this week on your picks. So you're doing well. But I was happy to see the National League come out on top.
And for those who don't follow it closely, and I understand if you don't, it's still the best All-Star game of the major sports. National League had lost.
They proved it last night, right?
Yeah.
You can't tell me that with the drama with that. the entertainment value, that's not the best all-star game, or just, again, all-star festivities in general. Lump in the home run derby as well. You can't tell me that's not the best in sports, because it is.
That
Simply
was
is.
great. It was a terrific game, and it didn't look like it was going to be, Rusty. 7th inning, 6-0 NL. And then steps up. Brent Rooker hits the 3-run homer. They get 4. Then they get 2 runs in the 9th inning. Edwin Diaz, he comes in. He just gives up a little roller to Corbin Carroll up the third base line. That guy can fly, and he's running out of the left-handed batter's box. Eugenio Suarez did everything that he could, and he had made a play earlier in the 9th inning defensively. Suarez, who got hit in the hand by a pitch, it looked like he was going to have to leave the game, but he stayed in, made a really good defensive play. Matt Olson made a great defensive play at first base up the line just prior to Carroll hitting one that rolled about 50 feet, and Suarez couldn't get him at first base. The tying run scored, and then everybody's like, oh, are you kidding me? We're going to have extra innings in the All-Star game. But it didn't happen, so it turned out 6-6. Of course, I was thinking, of course the National League, they can never win the freaking All-Star game. They're going to choke away a 6-0 lead. Then they're down 3-1 in the swing-off. And I'm like, come on, National League, are you freaking kidding me? And then Schwarber steps up. And some history also last night prior to the historic swing-off, Rusty, the ABS challenge system. We had 4 challenges in the game. And, by the way, I did rewind it because I wanted to time exactly how long it took from the tapping of the helmet, the umpire acknowledging there has been a challenge, then you see the graphics out on the big board, on the video board, and you get to see whether the ball was a strike or whether it was not a strike. Here's the scenario. First of all, they had Tarek Skubal, the pitcher. The catcher, Cal Raleigh, they had him mic'd up. Now, you couldn't understand Raleigh because he had his catcher's mask on. He's trying to talk. Like, what did he say? You could understand a couple of things. But Skubal was talking to him right before he threw a pitch, talking to the booth. It was really kind of cool. Now, I understand a pitcher would never agree to get mic'd up in a regular season game. When they do it in regular season games, they do it with fielders. They had Pete Crow Armstrong mic'd up. They had Clayton Kershaw mic'd up. They had Matt Olson mic'd up. I like that. I know some fans, the purists, they get agitated. Let them play the game. Come on. I think there are a lot of fans that I think it's cool that they get to talk to these guys, and especially the guys that talk back and have something interesting to say, and you can hear them chatter with their teammates. So Skubal and Raleigh are mic'd up. Okay, Manny Machado is at the plate. 2 strikes, and Skubal pumps a fastball right at the bottom of the strike zone. Dan Iasonia is the home plate umpire. Iasonia says ball, and Skubal and Raleigh say bull, not ball. We're challenging it. Here it is, and after I rewound it, it was 13 seconds from the time the umpire, you got Cal Raleigh tapped his helmet because it's the pitcher, the catcher, and the hitter that can challenge a ball strike call with the ABS challenge system. So Raleigh tapped his helmet. The umpire stepped out in front of the plate, said we have a challenge, and I timed it. It was 13 seconds. Here is the first ABS challenge outside of a spring training game in the history of Major League Baseball, and, my unofficial timing was 13 seconds.
Ball down. Oh, what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know if it can come from it can't come from the dugout, but it can come from the booth. I think it's going to work.
Let's see, Kyle. How'd you do?
I get the strike.
Automated balls and strikes, powered by T-Mobile's network.
That's messed up.
Hey, you take them any way you can get them, boys.
I mean, that ball was so clearly a strike, and it was strike three. That's how Manny Machado struck out the ABS system, but once the umpire stepped in front of the plate, it took 13 seconds. The other three challenges, Rusty, took around 10 seconds. This thing is almost instantaneous. We had 4 challenges.
Yeah, I think this is great. It's going to be a good thing for baseball, Eric. Again, 10 seconds, 13 seconds, that's nothing, especially in the game of baseball. I mean, look, just remember how it used to be with guys like Skip Schumacher. They take that 15 seconds easily just walking around the batter's box, clipping their batting gloves on and off before they stepped in the box, many times before. So, look, that is great. No time. And, look, ultimately, all you want is accuracy, right? And it seems like that the accuracy, they've narrowed it down. They got it figured out with this ABS system. So as long as there's not any kinks in the armor there and no issues as far as that goes, I'm all for it. I think it's going to be a good thing for the game of baseball. I think fans are going to love it too. Again, that adds another different element to the game as well. But you mentioned also having guys mic'd up. I also am a fan of that during this type of setting too, because look, I'll be honest. A lot of these guys, look, baseball is a very regional sport. So yeah, maybe some interesting tidbits and things about your own guys. For myself, like about the Cardinals, about Brendan Donovan that maybe a lot of other fans don't. But because it's so regional, you don't know a lot about some of the other stars in the game, and so that's a chance to learn a little bit about them, get a little bit of their personality, and I love that. Especially Kershaw, I enjoyed that. He's telling Smoke Seed, I don't throw a cutter. What do you and all this stuff. I mean that's awesome. I hate to admit it, Eric, but listening to Pete Carl Armstrong, I saw a little clip of that, and he was endearing to the fans. I mean, just the honesty and the humbleness that he showed when he was out there as well. That makes you like the guy a little bit more. I hate to say that as a Cardinal fan, but it's true. So getting to know these guys a little bit more, seeing their personality, that's only a positive for fans as a whole.
And you've got to get the okay from the players. I did read where they do flip the players a little money for the All-Star game.
10 grand.
I think for the All-Star game, it was 15 last night for Skubal and Raleigh to get mic'd up, so it was $15,000. That's a little extra. These guys, I know there'll be plenty of people, they make tons and tons. Pete Crow Armstrong's making squat in terms of Major League Baseball talent money. They also had Jacob Wilson, the shortstop for the Oakland Athletics. They had his dad, Jack Wilson, former Major Leaguer. He was mic'd up in the stands, and they're talking. It was really cool. I liked it. In fact, the second, there were 4 challenges. We just gave you the first. The second was in the 5th inning, and it was Jacob Wilson. He was assessed a strike, and he tapped his helmet and challenged it and won the challenge. It was not a strike, so the home plate umpire missed that one. Then in the bottom of the 8th inning, Marlins outfielder Kyle Stowers thought strike 3 should have been a ball, tapped his helmet. The review showed nope. It hit the very edge of the zone, according to Hawkeye technology. So that was the first challenge that was not upheld. And then the fourth and final challenge, top of the 9th inning, Diaz on the mound, and he challenged a call that ended up being strike 3 to end the inning. He thought it was a strike. Umpire said ball. They challenged it. 10 seconds, strike 3. National League walks off the field, and we get ready for the swing off. So we had 4 challenges. 3 of them were overturned. 1 was not at the plate by Kyle Stowers for the Marlins. So I think the ABS worked great. I quickly got on social media, and a lot of the fans after the first one where Machado was indeed, it was clear, it was almost the whole ball was in the zone. It was clearly a strike. And everything that I read, and I probably read about 20 posts by fans who are watching the game, they were all positive. I'm sure there were some negative reviews on it. It's a blasphemy to the game. You've got the technology, and whether you like it or not, it's going to be a part of baseball next year during the regular season. They got 2 challenges, and when you get the challenge right, you get to keep the challenges. So last night, I thought it was a really good debut for the ABS. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, Eric. I thought it was a good showing, and fans got a glimpse, what it would be like. And, also, too, again, it's not just those fans watching on television, right, or even on radio or something like that, but it's those fans in the stadium that, again, they throw it up on the scoreboard. They get to see it in real time, 10 seconds later, too. They understand what's going on. So, again, I think it's a great thing. And it's not to show up the umpires and say, oh, you're wrong all the time, whatever. But, no, it's, a lot of the time these guys are right, and that's kind of what the replay system has shown over the years as well. But also, too, but look, ultimately you want to get the call right. And especially, in those situations, or there was a couple of times last night, Eric, and, it could have been ball 3 or strike 3, right? So, in an event of an at-bat where, takes the bat out of the hands of the hitter or something like that, you want to get the call right. And that's what this allows to happen. And, again, I think it's going to be a good thing. And like you said, I mean, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen next year.
Also, one of the changes for the All-Star game last night, the players were back in their home uniforms, and we got rid of those ridiculous uniforms. Well, at the time they brought up the subject, they were talking. They had Aaron Boone mic'd up. They had Dave Roberts mic'd up, and here's the conversation. And Booney talked about the unis.
And doesn't it look right, Aaron? We got everybody in the home. We got in our own uniforms here, right?
It's so good, isn't it? It's so good. Thank you, baseball, for fixing that little snafu we had there for a few years.
So good.
Going to Brendan Donovan.
So you could hear Booney say, thank you for fixing that little snafu, and then you heard Roberts say, so good. I think almost everybody was happy to see those unis get out of here and see the players in their uniforms. Brendan Donovan, birds on the bat.
Yeah, I mean, that's the right way to go about it. I mean, look, some of these American and National League uniforms the last couple of years, Eric, have been pretty hideous. I mean, they've been pretty terrible uniforms, too. But, man, I mean, that's what you want to see. The whole point is, and that's why they have a rule, right, to have every team represented in the All-Star game. You want to be able to represent your team. And, those fans of those teams want to see that. I want to be able to see, Brendan Donovan in the All-Star game and to see what he did. And he had a good game, Eric. So I want to be able to see that because you want to follow that. And, again, for them to be in their own uniforms, that's the right way to go about it. It looks great. They actually looks like baseball, right, instead of some, fast pitch softball game or something like that. So I love it, and I'm so glad they went back to the uniforms. Also,
keep this in mind. We used to slog through prior to the pitch clock, slog through 3.5, 4.5 hour baseball games. They go to the pitch clock. Obviously, it chops a ton of time off. It's a much quicker moving game. But here's the deal from last night. We had all kinds of things to drag out the All-Star game. You had longer commercial breaks for this particular game. We had a game-ending swing-off at the end of the game that went into the time of the game. We had the pause for the stand-up for cancer, which was great. We had the pause for the tribute to Henry Aaron. We had pitching changes during innings. We had the removal of Freddie Freeman. They designed it to get him an ovation. Dave Roberts pulled him off the field, and the Atlanta fans, gave him a standing ovation, so that was really cool. And then the game only lasted 3 hours and 20 minutes. Still moved along, even with all of those delays.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. if you're a fan watching the game last night, and look, and people will say the same thing for football. I mean, you have football games, Eric. That's one of obviously the most popular sport in America right now. I mean, those games go 3-4 hours long, but it's the constant motion. It's the continuous. It's not the dead time, right? So as long as they were continuing to move, that's why it's a lot more enjoyable of a product. And I thought it was. There wasn't, to me, a dull moment really in the game. From what I was able to see, again, I didn't get to see everything, but from what I saw, that speaks to what Major League Baseball has been able to do to make it more enjoyable for fans for a viewing experience, and I think they've been successful in that.
So you mentioned that they had Clayton Kershaw mic'd up last night when he came in. He only was in there for 2 outs because Dave Roberts, who's his manager, wanted to get him out for an ovation. But they had Kershaw mic'd up. Smoltzy talking to him along with Joe Davis. Just give you a little snippet if you didn't see the game with Kershaw. It was cool.
I'm going to try to throw some cheese real quick. Hold on.
Cal Raleigh hooks it in the air to left field. And a sliding catch by Kyle Tucker.
That was sick.
Hey, sit him down.
I think that might be it.
That's it. And Clayton, what a year, buddy. What a career. And what a moment. Soak it in.
Thanks, brother.
All right. And by the way, they caught him on the microphone when he went into the dugout, and he was getting a high five as he was walking down the dugout. High five from all of his teammates. He dropped a suck it big dumper.
He did.
He did. He dropped a suck it big dumper who had won the home run derby, but he got big dumper out on the sliding catch in left field by Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, and Kershaw is one of the good guys in the game. He really is. I know that he had some comments about the Cardinals and what they did on the video board last time they were in St. Louis. But, look, he's a good guy, and he's had an amazing career. He'll be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. Of course, he just had over 3,000 strikeouts just a couple weeks ago, able to do that during the regular season. So he deserved to be honored. And, I don't know if this is his last year. Maybe it is for him. So, an opportunity for Major League Baseball as a whole to give a hat tip to him. So that was a cool moment. And again, the interaction with the mics, you got to see a little bit of insight for that. And so I enjoyed that, to see almost the behind the scenes type of thing like what you're talking about. So again, just bravo to Major League Baseball.
And they honored the Hammer, Henry Aaron. Hank Aaron hit his 715th home run in Atlanta on April 8th, 1974, 7:15, and the game was played on 7:15, July 15th, and they had a stirring tribute for Hank Aaron during the game. It was later in the game, and they dropped all the lights, and this is what it sounded like.
And it doesn't take a mind reader to read the collective mind that's here in this ballpark tonight. They came to see him pass the babe.
Once again, a standing ovation for Henry Aaron. So the confrontation for the second time. Aaron walked in the second inning. He means the tying run at the plate now. So we'll see what Downing does. Al at the belt delivers, and he's low, ball one. And that just adds to the pressure.
He's sitting on 7-14. Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
Fabulous tribute to Hank Aaron in the game. And let's remember here, Rusty, 25 times an All-Star for Hank Aaron. Now, he played when they had 2 All-Star games in the same season. They did that a few years. But 25 All-Star games, that's an all-time record. Went into the Hall of Fame in 82. One of 2 players ever. 700 homers, 3,000 hits. The only other person to do it, Albert Pujols. He was named to the All-Century team, and he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom before he passed away. It was a fabulous, and I'm sure you saw it online, a fabulous tribute to Henry Aaron. That's one of the best tributes, especially in-game, that I have ever seen.
Absolutely. Obviously, you knew that in Atlanta that they were wanting to do something for him, and well-deserved. Family was there, too. That was an awesome moment. It brought you goosebumps, Eric. It really did. Man, I mean, a legend of the game. I mean, he's no doubt one of the best players to ever suit it up, Henry Aaron. And, very cool moment. Atlanta, again, they've been a good host this year for the All-Star game, in my opinion. And that's just another reason why, is because they did that right.
So the game starts with Paul Skeens. 2 strikeouts, and he gets Aaron Judge to hit a weak ground ball up the middle. He goes 1, 2, 3, 14 pitches, 2 Ks for Skeens, and he probably had tears in his eyes in the dugout, Rusty, because the National League got him 2 runs of support in the first inning, something he never gets, run support.
Yeah, I mean, that's something different for him. He didn't know what to think. He's like, wait a minute. They allow you to score, in the first inning? How about that? So, yeah. Man, he looked great, Eric. I mean, him at the beginning, striking out guys at the top of the zone at 100. Boy, he is something else. Paul Skeens, he definitely lived up to the billing last night.
It was fun. It was absolutely fun last night. And just see Paul Skeens get 2 runs in the first inning. I mean, he had to be shell-shocked, tears welling up in his eyes, I'm sure, when he was in the dugout. All right, we've got to take a quick timeout. More reaction from last night's All-Star game, and the Cardinals have made an announcement. They are retiring a jersey number. We're going to tell you more about that when we come back. Much more. Rusty Hendricks joining us on the EBOMD Huddle Hotline from the Yingling Sports Huddle Studios. You're listening to the Huddle. Sports Huddle, SEMO, ESPN, 1220 AM, 93.5 on the FM dial and online at SEMOESPN.com. Eric Shawn, Rusty Hendricks is on the EBOMD Huddle Hotline this morning. And, Rusty, I'll be interested to see the television ratings for the All-Star game. But as we mentioned earlier, Home Run Derby, total sellout, no empty seats in Atlanta. So that was super popular. Television ratings up 5% from the previous year. It peaked at 6.3 million viewers. More people watched the Home Run Derby on Monday night than watched any other program on television. And I understand there wasn't a whole lot on, but, I don't want to hear about the freaking Home Run Derby and, wow, nobody cares. People care about it. It was a sellout, and the numbers were good with the television ratings. ABS, prior to the game, before they even broke it out, Mark DeRosa was on with Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon on Pardon the Interruption, Rusty, and he kind of checked in. Remember, at the World Baseball Classic, DeRosa was the manager of the United States, and he's going to be the manager for Team USA again. And he was the guest prior to the All-Star game and asked about his thoughts on the ABS.
That people might get fixated on. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. We want to find out how you feel about players being able to challenge balls and strikes tonight.
Yeah.
Where are you on technology improving the game?
I love it. I'm going to be honest with you. I just was the bench coach for Chipper Jones in the Futures game, and we got to use it, and I watched it work to our advantage twice. So, yeah, I'm good with it. I think you're going to see this next year. I think this is going to be brought into the game next year. I think they're trying to figure out how many challenges to give people. You don't want everyone saving it to the ninth inning and then it slows down the game. The pitch clock has made whether you agree with it or not, it has made it a better product, in my opinion, getting the ball moving a little bit more. So, yeah, I think you're going to see it tonight. Guys are going to be scared to use it. Tarek Skubal actually said he's not going to use it. He'll leave it to his catcher if he wants to use it.
And that's exactly what happened. Tarek Skubal let the Big Dumper challenge, and they end up winning the first ever challenge. I know since you were doing the Catfish game, Rusty, you did not get to see the debut of The Miz, did you?
I did not, but I hear that he didn't disappoint.
The Miz, Jacob Mizorowski, came in to the ball game in the seventh inning, one scoreless inning. He didn't strike anybody out through 18 pitches, gave up one hit. He hung a changeup. Randy Arozarena hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball to the warning track in left center. Have you ever heard of Randy Arozarena, the All-Star, Rusty?
Yeah, his name rings a bell for sure.
So, and then there was another fly ball just in front of the warning track. He hung a breaking ball, got away with it, but he spun his head around. I think he thought he had given up a home run at the time, but Mizorowski, they talked to him in the dugout. In fact, they had Ken Rosenthal, who I think's about 4'10". He's a small dude, but he's standing next to the Miz, who's 6'7", and in spikes he's probably 6'9.5". So that looked a little funny in the dugout, but the kid was excited about being there. And Rosenthal asked him, "What kind of feedback did you get from the players here?" And he's like, "Everybody was supportive. They were excited for me to get a chance to be an all-star." And then I loved how Paul Skeens, who only had 11 starts when, they chose him for the All-Star game and then chose him to start the game, and then he starts it for a second straight year. So I like those kind of storylines. I was kind of hoping that they would bring Mizorowski in a little bit earlier, but it didn't happen. No big deal. Let me double-check here.
Yeah, while you're looking, real quick, Eric, one of the things that I noticed on social media is that the kid threw a 98-mile-an-hour slider.
Yeah.
And the reaction from the bench, they were all, just laughing and joking and kind of in awe, thinking like a 98-mile-an-hour slider. So, yeah, that was disgusting.
If they brought him in they brought him in the eighth inning, I think I said seventh. That's when the American League scored 4 runs in the seventh inning. Roberts had kind of intimated he was going to get him in earlier than the seventh inning. Probably should have brought the Miz in a little bit earlier. Maybe they don't get those 4 runs. Maybe Rooker doesn't hit the 3-run homer. I don't know. But it was a fun night for Major League Baseball. It was a fun showcase. Whether or not you like all-star games anymore, whether or not you like the home run derby, the people that do still care about those two entities, I thought it was a very fun couple of days. I would almost venture to say if you really put Commissioner Rob Manfred on a lie detector, he would tell you, man, I can't imagine that it could have gone any better. We had drama in the home run derby, had a packed house, had increased television ratings. We had the swing off at the end of the All-Star game. The players, that would have been key to me, Rusty, if the players were kind of ho-hum, they were all in the dugout. They were not in the dugout. They were on the field in front of the railing during this home run swing off. They were into every pitch. And, I think you could realistically come on and say, well, they were a little wishy-washy with how that game ended last night. No, that's not how it was. The players loved it, and if the players loved it, I can get behind it.
Yeah, again, it's an exhibition. So, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter, right? It's all about the entertainment. It's all about the fun factor. And it was fun. And like you said, the players were into it. They enjoyed it. Maybe it'll, in some aspects, it'll drive up a little bit more, enthusiastic, about the game as well. So hopefully that'll be the case. So, but again, it was cool to see the players enjoying themselves, and that's what it's about. It should be about them just enjoying things and just cutting up and having fun with the guys. And, I was reading a little piece, Eric, out of the Post-Dispatch. Derek Gould wrote talking about Brendan Donovan, and he was just talking about that he wanted to go to each and every guy and talk to them, try to grab a little nugget from them and what they know. He was apparently talking to the Dodgers coaches and different things and some of the things that they do with their club and just trying to pick things up. And he said most of all, the one guy he wanted to talk to more than anybody else was Francisco Lindor, because apparently whenever he got brought up to the major leagues, he first entered in his first game as a pinch runner. And I guess whenever he got to second base, Lindor was the very first person in the game to wish him or to give him a congratulations. So he wanted to say something back to him and talk to Francisco Lindor. So I thought that was pretty neat. So it's also about the players, again, picking things up and chatting with some of the other guys and learning some things and hopefully bringing it back to their club.
And if you have not read that story about Brendan Donovan from Derek Gould in the Post-Dispatch, I encourage you to go read it. It's really good. And you and I talked on Monday morning on this show, Rusty, about the length of those rain delays. 4 hours in rain delays, 4 hours and 2 minutes. So it ended up being a 7-hour slog fest. And we were speculating, I wonder how many people missed their flights. Everybody wanted to get out of there because the Cardinals don't play again until Friday. Well, you read the Derek Gould story. Brendan Donovan was one of them. Missed his flight because of the rain delays. He missed his flight to the All-Star game, had to schedule a new flight for he and his family.
That's right. And actually, from what I was able to read, Eric, it looked like the Cardinals actually ponied up, and they chartered him a flight to make it there. So that was good to hear that they did that. But, yes, it was pretty funny to hear that he missed his flight.
Well, they spent all their money. Now no acquisitions at the deadline, unfortunately, because of that.
Yeah, that's true. Probably those concession stand prices are going to go up a few dollars now.
All right. Bruce Jenner is not going to get the Courage Award at the ESPYs tonight, we're told. Won't be getting it again. So the ESPYs are tonight. And I, for one, I'll tune it in for a little bit. I'm okay with the ESPYs. It is on ESPN. The red carpet is kind of cool. They had the MLB All-Star Game red carpet. Yesterday, I tuned into that to see some of the outfits, and Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn walked the red carpet, so that was pretty cool. The ESPYs are tonight. There isn't a whole lot going on if you're a sports fan, but the ESPYs are one of them, and that is where the SEMO Ball Awards kind of got the idea, and they kind of run the SEMO Ball Awards like the ESPYs, even with the red carpet and the paparazzi and all of that stuff. And that's Friday night, by the way, at LaCroix Church. So the SEMO Ball Awards coming up in just a couple of days. But I will peek in on the ESPYs tonight. How about you?
Yeah, well, maybe like you said, peek in. It's not something I'm going to be glued to or tuned in, throughout the night. But I'll want to see who wins some of the awards and maybe see a speech or two, things like that. But yeah, like you said, with not much else on, I'll tune in for a bit.
All right, Cardinals get back at it on Friday. Now, tomorrow, have you seen the new Superman movie, Rusty?
I have not.
All right, so Mike Francesa legendary sports talk show host from WFAN in New York, Mike and the Mad Dog with Christopher Mad Dog Russo from back in the day. No longer doing live radio, but he's doing a podcast. He went to see the Superman movie. We will have Francesa's review. Get your tissue out because you'll be laughing so hard. Tears will be coming out of your eyes. We'll talk about the guy who thinks Patrick Mahomes is fat tomorrow. And they had a sports category on Jeopardy the other day, Rusty, and you're going to have to hear this. These are smart people, but when it comes to sports, they peg the nerd meter. It is hysterical stuff. Those things, among other things, we will check in tomorrow. We'll break down the contract for the Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman that was $94 million, and Patrick Mahomes tweeted out a smiley face, hey, I'm going to get some protection there on that offensive line, something he did not get in the Super Bowl. Anything else on your mind?
That's all I got, Eric.
All right, Catfish are on the road, doubleheader starting at 5:05. They'll be taking on Rex baseball tonight. And when did you say Catfish are back home?
Thursday night.
Thursday night. Okay, so they will be home tomorrow night. And we will continue the discussion tomorrow, Rusty. We flew through that hour.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Eric.
All right. Rusty Hendricks, voice of the Catfish, on the EVOMD Huddle Hotline. Hello to the radiant and ravishing Dawn Shawn. The Midwest Plains Regional Tournament in Charleston starts tomorrow for Babe Ruth Baseball. Squirrels are going to have the night game against the Missouri State champs, the Elite Revelers squad. That will be something she's fired up to go watch the Squirrels play in the regional tournament tomorrow. So she has a day off tomorrow. She's fired up. Stay tuned, Clinton and friends. They'll be talking some baseball coming up. Hope you enjoy your hump day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.